we'll start going through our questions. And as you have questions, if they come up as we go, you can interject and raise your hand and ask.
And I can call you by name
and
because
you can call you by name, exactly.
You got names in front of you.
But we want to hear his story because, again, I think this serves multiple purposes for us. Because he is, I guess I want to say, not atypical in the sense that his path was not direct, right?
Right.
And you were inspired to do things based on almost negative situations in your life.
It was negative situation. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I'm going to start with, I have this question about your childhood and key positive and or negative people or situations that influenced
Okay.
you. Because you have a neat little story.
Okay. Well, by the way, my name's Dan DeRuiter, and I'm a chiropractor in town. My practice is in downtown Dalton, the Natural Life. And Dr. Christie asked me to speak with you guys, and so I'm here. So you're asking me, I was childhood. I grew up in Panama, in the country Panama, and because everyone, I'm like, hey, I'm going to Panama next week. They're like, oh, I was there. I'm like, no, you weren't. Not Panama, not Panama City, Florida. But come on in. So key, I grew up. What am I going to say about that? Well, I mean, childhood was good. I had a fairly happy childhood. I don't have any complaints. I don't blame my parents. Yeah, I do blame. My mom was a little bit critical, and nothing was ever right. So I did carry a lot of self-esteem issues from that, just because it's somebody constantly criticizing and to the point where my self-esteem, seeing it now, my self-esteem was very low. I kind of struggled through, and I'm still struggling through with things. I'm 60, for God's sakes, and I'm still dealing with things. So everybody goes through things in life, and lately, some of you would like to blame everybody but your own self for things. But at some point you got to say, you know what, it is what it is. Let's do something about it and change your life, which is kind of what happened to me, and I had no choice. It's not that I was I was like, oh, I wonder what I'm gonna. It was just a thing that just happened, and I believe that if you're not on the right path, you're constantly going to be reminded that you're not on the right path by things always going wrong. And I always think that if you're if you're doing what you're meant to be doing, you're going to be kind of in the flow. Like, things happen quickly, and it's like, I don't know how I got this far, but I know I must be on the right track because things are happening. And if you're not on that track, everything you're hitting walls and brick walls and things like that. So, excuse me, in your own lives, I would pay attention to what's happening, and if you're not, like I said, if you're not 100%, and listen, you guys are young. You don't have to know everything. Things will happen, and you'll be like, okay, I studied nursing, and now I'm going to be a whatever it is. Just complete 180, because I did not want to be a chiropractor when I grew up. I didn't think I could. Well, number one, I didn't know what chiropractic was. But I'm like, I don't want to do anything medical because it's a long time, and I don't want to do that. So and things just happen. So I was in the restaurant business. I was a restaurant manager for Hardee's in Florida. Yes. Well, I was Hardee's, and then I moved on. And it was Wendy's that I ended up having the fall from. But anyway, I was my first job was at a Hardee's. I was working in the kitchen, cleaning tables, that kind of thing. And in fast food, if you just kind of can fog a mirror, you'll just get promoted. And one day they handed me the keys, and they're like, "You're the manager." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And, you know, and that was at 19, 20, I was making decent money as a manager. At 25, I was making the same kind of money. So, you know, I was like, okay, I'm doing this, but I didn't feel like I was going anywhere. And I was in a relationship. I was in a so-so marriage, and things were. I was like, is this it? Is this it? Got a shitty relationship and a job that I don't really care about. There's got to be more. But I didn't know I was unhappy. You know, everybody tries to make the best of it. I was doing my thing. Anyway, one day I had an accident. Well, I was yelling at some of the guys. I was telling them to change the sign on the marquee, and they're screwing around doing things, anything but what I asked them to do. So I got angry, and
you got to talk about that. So
okay,
we're jumping kind of number 3.
I know. Okay.
But I love this part of the story because I can't believe who you were at that time.
Well, I would. Okay, and yes, I was unhappy. I was unhappy, and it came out. I was mean. I was a jerk.
Would you say that you were pretending to be happy?
Yes, absolutely. You know, because I had all these things that's supposed to make you like, okay, you got a good job, you got you're married, you got things, and you know. I did not feel fulfilled, but I didn't know what fulfilled was meant, or I just like, man, is this it? Is this what everybody's busting their butts for? So I wasn't happy, but I didn't know it. Anyway, so then I went to what? I'm all over the place, aren't I?
You're good.
Okay.
No, because you were fixing the sign.
We were fixing the sign. I was telling these guys to fix the sign, and I lost my temper. I'm like, you know what? Get out from there, you useless, blah 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 blah.
Bad boss.
I remember one time I lost my temper so much that I threw a burger at him.
Oh God.
Yeah, I was so angry.
Was it a Frisco burger?
No, but some customer brought something back, and it was something so stupid that I got something, and I remember I threw it at him, and the kid ducked, and it hit the wall, and it smeared. And I was like, okay, you know, that was a little much. But every time I did something like that, I'd get positive reinforcement from management, which, you know, because they're like, yes, you're running things, you know, you're in charge. So every time, so I was like, oh, maybe this is a way that I have to be to get things done. So, well, and back in those days, early '90s, it was, you know, I don't know what it is, but it wouldn't fly today. No, that wouldn't fly today. So I got up on the thing, and I'm slapping the letters up there, and I fell.
From how high?
12 feet, 15 feet. Yeah, Wendy's sign. So you can't. Actually, you need the thing, but we had a ladder. We had rigged a ladder to go up there, and I fell. And as I was trying to hold on to it, I twisted myself, fell, and when I landed, I couldn't breathe. And call 911, somebody. I guess one of the girls that was working for me, she's like, ooh, felt sorry for me and said, there's a chiropractor right around the corner. Go see him. I'm like, I don't care. I'm dying here. And it was 6:30-ish. It was in the evening. So she's like, well, I'm gonna call and see if he can see you, if he's there. Like, whatever. And she's like, okay, yeah, he'll see you.
I should say that you, in the day, like medical people, chiropractic was like voodoo at that point, wasn't it? I mean, it was.
Well, I had never heard of it.
But that's what I mean. You'd never heard of it, but
no.
Started to hear about chiropractic. It wasn't covered by insurance at first.
No, well, and this was in Florida. I had fallen at work, so it was a workman's comp injury. And Florida's laws are a little different than here, so it was covered. So I went and I saw the guy. I go, well, that's kind of weird that 6:30 and he'll wait for me. And he was like an old guy with a white beard, kind of like this. But he was older. He was an older guy. He wore a white coat. I was like, and he waited for me. And it was me and him. It was we were the only ones in the office. He sent this staff home. I'm like, wow, okay. It's either he's overly nice or he doesn't have any business at all. So so he worked on me, and I ended up, I could breathe and everything. He's like, okay, come a few times. And I was intrigued, you know, so I kept coming back. And one day he's doing some things, and he's doing muscle testing, which I will explain to you later. Which muscle testing is using your own reflexes to pinpoint something going on in your body. So he did that, and he's telling me that something is wrong with my adrenal glands and this and that. I'm like, I don't even know what an adrenal gland is, but this is the coolest thing ever. I was like, wow. And in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, I wish I could do that. And this is when my life changed, because I actually heard a voice outside of me. You know, maybe it was God, maybe it was, you know, maybe it was my conscience, maybe it was whatever it was. It was a voice outside of my head that said, well, why don't you? And it scared the crap out of me. Because, well, number one, nothing like that had ever happened before. And so I was like, I was sweating, and finally I got through with the visit. I'm like, okay, doc, I'll see you later. I was like, whew. And I got out of there. I'm like, okay, what, you know, I was scared because nothing like that ever happened to me. So in those days, if you wanted to find out something, you would have to go to the library. And there was a card catalog. Yeah, you couldn't just Google it. You had to go to the library and get, you know, careers, and it was like a whole ordeal, like a whole morning.
The point I was trying to make about chiropractic.
Yeah.
At that point in time, nobody had really ever even heard of chiropractic.
No, and I didn't know what it was, and
just go to the chiropractor.
Yeah.
Because nobody even knew what that
yeah.
was.
So I hadn't said anything to anybody or my friends or anything. So I look up this thing. I'm like, okay, ooh, all right. I mean, this seems interesting, and I, you know, I gotta listen to whatever that was, because it'd be silly not to. Okay, so I wrote, and I think there are a couple of them had a 1-800 number, so that was a, you know, okay. So I would get my catalog right away. So I called, and they, you know, and sure enough, one of them, you know, I got several of them, and one of them was to Life University, which is the only reason it was the radius was the closest thing to South Florida. I'm like, okay. So,
And life in Atlanta was one of the closest things to South Florida.
Yes, yes. Well, exactly. There's only like 14 universities in the whole country. So, and as a profession, chiropractic is not very big. It's only about 80,000 chiropractors in the whole country. So even now, yes. Wow. Mm-hmm. So we're in demand.
There you go.
Yeah. So yes.
So, who would you say would be negative influences
Who this Dr. Sedler, and I didn't have much contact with him afterwards. I remember I wrote him a letter once I was in chiropractic school, and he answered me back, and I wish I still had it, because it was he said, I wrote him a very nice letter, but the one he wrote me was a beautiful letter, and it was very, I guess I touched him somehow, that, you know, he felt like, you know, he mentored somebody, even though he wasn't really aware.
Say, maybe the making a difference in someone's life.
Yes.
Is powerful.
It is powerful, because
make a difference.
Because when people come back to me and say, listen, you're the reason why I did this, which has happened. Yes. I do get teary-eyed at night. So, but he wrote me a very nice letter. So I would say that was my only influence in making me decide what to do. Because once I told people, you know, and be careful what you tell your close friends, because what I thought they were going to cheer me on, they did the opposite.
Wow.
They're like, wow, that's stupid. That's crazy. What are you doing? You know, and everybody, and I was so fired up, and everybody was, all my close friends shot it down. Like, oh, that's stupid. That's what.
And we need to go back to the relationship stuff, but I
Yes.
I need to interject for the motivation class. Like, who in here, is there only like 2 of you in the motivation class or 3 of you? Okay, good, there's like 4 or 5. So in the motivation class next week, in fact, we're going to talk about the perspectives and theoretical perspectives for behavior change.
Mm-hmm.
Sociocultural, psychological, this whole thing of being surrounded by people that in your immediate environment that were not supportive.
They were not supportive at all.
Yeah. So this is a big part of motivation
Yes.
or lack thereof when people start to.
Yeah, and it was, you know, you're so fired up about something, and you're like, hey, listen, and then you're like, more, but I couldn't, you know, had it been anything else, because I was fired up, I was like, finally, I think I found something that I like.
And then they told you their opinion.
Yeah, and everybody's throwing cold water. I'm like, finally, I'm like, you know what? That's it. I'm not telling anybody. Why are you gonna?
It's almost like these people in your inner circle were obstacles.
They were obstacles. Yes, they were not supportive, and I still find that to be the truth, even to this day. So be very guarded about what you tell your friends, because that is too precious to just share with anybody. Okay, your dreams, you know.
Maybe you just had really bad.
No. It was several, and girl, I lived a long life since then, you know. So yes, so I mean, no, and really, people are like, have you ever heard the story about the crabs? If you put crabs in a bucket and one of them tries to go out, the other crabs will pull them back down. That's people. So you got to hang out with people that are actually not going to pull you back down, and that you know they got your back and they're going to motivate you. Because yeah, you got to be very selective about your people. They say you surround yourself with 5 people that, you know, show me those 5 people and I'll tell you how you're going to end up. So yeah, so be very careful who you include in your circle.
I'm gonna list that under tips for success.
Okay.
Surround yourself
With positive people, and people that have goals.
Right. 5 positive, supportive people. Right? Okay, before you move on,
Yes.
I want you to. This isn't really on the list of questions, but I want you to address the relationship thing, because I do think it's important. Like what was happening in the personal relationship. That was
Well, in the personal relationship, I was married. We were having, and again, I was doing my best with what I knew, with being unhappy. It wasn't. She wasn't terrible. I was terrible. I was unhappy. I didn't love myself. You know, and this morning I heard, I was listening to Brené Brown. Yeah. And she's like, you know, if you're not happy, you're not going to love anybody. If you don't love yourself, you're not going to be able to love anybody. So I didn't love myself. So I was unable to really connect. So, and I was clueless. And one day, pretty much one day, I got told, this isn't working out. See ya. And I was crushed. So I was, you know, I wasn't happy then, and I was crushed. Exactly. But you know what? That's the best thing that could ever happen to me. Yes.
How old were you?
27. So I had been working a while. I mean, I had graduated high school, and I was doing eternal college, you know, junior college, taking classes, dropping in one, and because I interfered with work, and taking classes here. So I had a bunch of college classes, but nothing to show for it. So I was always busy. I was always moving, but nothing ever. You know, there's people that are always busy, but like, what have you done? Oh, nothing. That was me.
Have you ever heard that voice again after that?
Mm-hmm.
And whatever it was.
It will never ever steer you wrong.
I like that.
Ever.
Oh, did
Yes.
anyone pressure you to be successful? Would you say your mom?
No. No. Actually, you know, and I don't want to just, you know, feel sorry for me. My mom went through a lot. My mom and dad didn't really, there was nothing happening there, and she was unhappy for many years. And when we moved to the States, that's what unbeknownst to us, we were going to the United States to study, to go to school. We're like, okay. And we always wanted to live in the United States. So, so we move, and like, where's Dad? Oh, he's got to work. He's still got his business there. We still got to work. I didn't know they were splitting up. I didn't know they were divorcing.
Wow.
For 2 years. And I'm not 8 years old. I am 14, 15. Okay? No idea. Of course, found out later, and that was a huge shock. But anyway, my mom had kind of moved on, and she one day she's like, "Hey, listen, I met this guy. We're getting married. See ya. You got to take care of your 16-year-old brother." I'm like, "Wait, what?" But I wanted to go to college. Whatever. And again, I didn't. I was like, "Okay, that's what I got to do. I gotta look out for my brother." So it was a struggle. It wasn't easy, but so I became an adult. Yeah. And so I had, I did want to go to like official college away, like in Florida. It was Florida State. Go somewhere away, and I ended up, taking classes at Miami-Dade Community College because it was right down the road. It was cheap, and that's all. That's all I could do part-time. So anyway, did that. Yes, absolutely.
I don't remember about the mom. I didn't remember about this.
I don't think I.
But do you see what I'm wondering? Was that almost a good way to transition you to not even explain, like, so you didn't get to grieve the loss of the parents' marriage in the move because
Right.
you didn't know until later, or were you resentful because you didn't know? I mean, that's interesting because it sounds.
I
like
was
a protective move
shocked.
on your
It's funny you should mention that because when my ex-wife and I divorced, it was the girls were at camp, and that's when we're like, okay, let's wait till then, so there won't be any. But that's what they resent the most. That's what they said, that was horrible for them to find out that way. That was a shock. So I didn't feel that way when it happened to me.
Coming home from camp is different than
Yes.
moving and Dad staying to work and we're just.
Yeah, I mean, but by that time it was like,
Would say you're not being upfront about.
yeah, I'm 17 years old. I'm like,
Deceiving.
what's happening here?
It doesn't sound like you had time to process any of that.
No.
It's like back to back.
Yeah. It was drastic. Let's just say drastic changes, but it was fine because I worked and my brother graduated and
So what's your relationship with your brother?
great, better now than ever.
Would you say he's a part of the reason that you are like who you are today?
No.
Take care of him though, which is.
I had to take care of him, and looking back, I didn't really do a great job of it either, but I did what I knew. Yes, sir. Completely different. Excuse me. Completely different career.
How much younger? 'Cause
3 years.
He was like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't that I'm like I had to like bottle feed him or anything. It was just he was 16. He needed a little supervision.
I said y'all were all each other had.
No, it's not like that at all either. It's like, mom was around, but she was like, see ya. So mom was around. And Dad was around, but he was in another country, but he'd come and visit us. It was, and he'd even help financially. And I remember one time he's like, Dad, I don't know how I'm going to do it. So we had a rental property, and he's like, well, why don't you tell me? You guys live in there for free. So that was a great help. And then, I ended up, I got married, and my brother's like, when he caught traction, he took off and didn't look back, which freed me to do whatever I needed to do. So I am lost now.
No, we are so good.
Okay.
So I'm going to restart with.
Like, if anyone touched you said that you kind of not touched yourself, but like you wanted more for yourself.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it wasn't. You know how you ever seen those movies when everything is in black and white?
Hate 'em.
Everything is black and white, and then there's something in color, and you're like, "Holy shit! Look at that!" And that was it for me. My life was that, and then I see something that's like, oh, I got to do that, so I was very protective, very I was very I didn't like nothing could like that. That's what I wanted, and I knew myself. I know I never completed anything, so I was scared because I'm like, damn it, you've never finished anything in your life. You've never completed anything in your life. This is going to be the same as it always is. It's got a happy ending.
It does have
Yeah.
happy ending.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking about the negative self-talk.
Oh, but there's a lot. There's a ton of negative self-talk, which is why I am so into what the other thing I brought up, because then you can actually make changes in things. So anyway, and I decided to come up to and start university. And you know what? You would think like, okay, he's super motivated. He's going to do well. Wrong. I almost flunked out. I had been out of school about 10 years. I wasn't really, and I always thought I was a smart guy. But, because most college, I would just be like, okay, show up a couple times. It's up here, and you do fine. This was different.
Medical graduate.
Yeah, I'm like doing organic chemistry. I have no idea what organic chemistry, like what the hell? It was like physics, and I was like, oh. So I had real trouble. And I failed a couple classes. So failed. I didn't get a C or better. And in those classes, once they're graduate level classes, you have to get a C or better. So I had to retake the whole thing. That affected my student loans. It was like, oh. So what did I do? I went to a hypnotherapist.
Oh, I'm putting this under
Yeah.
mentors, role models.
Okay.
Influences. I forgot about it.
Well, because I know I needed help, and I know I didn't know what to do, and I couldn't fail. Don't you? I couldn't afford. I'm gonna get choked up here, but I couldn't afford to fail. And I was like, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do. And on my drive to school, I would pass this place, a hypnotherapist. I never thought I would. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. But I'm like, and one day I was like, just like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I don't know. And it wasn't, the focus, I was, I guess I'm 28 years old partying with 21-year-olds. I guess that was maybe some of it. But then I was also the discipline to sit and study, because I was always, I'm a great procrastinator. Because when I start to study, I'm like, no, I can't study in this. I clean the house. I'm like, no, I can't. We got to do something. There's got to be other projects before I studied. So nothing ever got done. And the hypnotherapist. Yes. Oh, absolutely. To this day.
Okay, but tell us about hypnotherapy.
Okay, hypnotherapy. I didn't. It wasn't one of those things that you're like, oh my gosh, I can retain everything. We had a session, and I only did one. It's recommended to do a whole series, but I only did one. I was a starving student, so there wasn't much, and I had lost my loans. So there you go. So I did a session, and I remember they were like, okay, well, let your hand touch your face. I'm like, I'm supposed to be in trance, and then the next thing I know, I feel my hand touching my face. But I didn't do anything to it. So it kind of, because you have your eyes closed, and I did not notice when my hand was doing that. So I guess I was in a trance, and then they did the suggestions. And
your intent, you went in with the intent of like.
Yes, I want to study better. I want to retain. I want to have a better study habit, more retention, more dedication, whatever you call it.
Did it work?
I didn't flunk out, so I guess it did. But I can't tell you like, oh yeah, it was amazing. I was,
So it's basically hypnotherapy for like motivation and
yeah,
procrastination.
procrastinate, yeah, yeah. So I made it through. I graduated, and what would you like to know next?
Oh, we have to go to success questions.
Okay,
so
success
now
question.
Back, what's your idea of success? And if you can jump from that to the difference between what successful people do to achieve their goals.
Okay. My idea of success. All right, there is a poem. Is it Ralph Waldo Emerson? Success to leave behind either by a healthy child or something, to make a difference in the world. Basically, that's what it says. And it's so, you're like, yeah, right. But I had that framed even before I was a chiropractor, even before anything. I thought that was just a beautiful little saying, and I had it framed. And I think about it, and I'm like, yeah. It's not money, because somebody told me, you don't give a damn about money. I'm like, yes, I do. No, you don't. That's not really what motivates you. I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right. And I know this sounds so corny, but I actually want to help people. I want to make sure that you level up, you advance, you can progress from where you're at, and if I can help you, that's, when I was working in restaurants, I thought this was everybody was making minimum wage, and a car breaks down, that wipes everybody out there. So I thought I was making a difference. We had a credit union, and I would make everybody, hey, just put $20 in that credit union. And man, I thought I was making a huge difference, because it was making a difference in these people's lives, because it's like, okay, now they have a little money. They didn't have a bank accounts before. Now they had a little something. And I was like, oh, great. But now I feel like I'm like, wow, I'm changing people's lives. You couldn't walk before, they carried you in here, and now you left, and you got tears in your eyes. You can walk. That's amazing. Well, okay, but see, you think that's like for me, people making people's pain go away. That's for me, and I don't want to sound like, man, flippant or anything. That's boring. And let me tell you why it's boring. Because next week you'll come in again. Hey, doc, get rid of my pain, and I'll do the same thing. What I like is when I can change somebody's life. What I like is when somebody has, well, in Honduras we did this, get a lady to recover her eyesight, for God's sakes. That's a big deal. I changed her life. That kind of stuff, that I like. The other stuff is boring. And yeah.
I think you're not seeing the bigger impact of.
Oh, I see. I see I love what I do. Don't get me wrong. I really love what I do. And by the way, if you're ever considering a career in anything, chiropractic is fantastic. If you're as fired up as I am about it, you will strive to be the best. And it's not that I'm saying that I'm the best, but I'm always learning. Every single day, I'm trying to learn something. So and then people will pay you, and then say you're amazing, and pay you, and then send you more people. Good Lord, what else do you want? Okay. As far as, I mean, I guess I could be a better businessman, but like somebody said, I don't give a crap about money. And I shouldn't say that, but.
No, I like this question. So you said your definition of success was making a difference, helping people
Yes,
level
because
up,
you
changing lives.
and here's the thing, I've come to the realization that I'm not going to be around forever. So now I got to pass this on. Because I'm not going to be around forever. And wow, that's a lot of work to go to you know? So that's where I'm at now.
All right. So looking back,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say, because we're going to go get into the practical tips and things, when you think about people who are successful, or yourself even, with the difference between you, successful Dr. Dan, versus you prior to being successful, what's the difference between successful people who achieve their goals, whatever their definition of success is, versus those who do not?
Well, goals. I mean, honestly, if you don't set goals for yourself, you'll just kind of be like a jellyfish, kind of just all over the place, wherever the current takes you, and then you realize 10 years later, holy shit, I'm in the same place I was 10 years ago. I'm just 10 years older. I haven't done anything, which is kind of what happened to me. That's realization. Is like, I'm still working at a STEM restaurant.
And so, tell me more about the goal. Like, if I have goals, then how do I? Because I think a lot of people,
They have goals.
they have the
still
goals,
don't follow through. Like, I remember I set a whole New Year's resolution.
Well, okay.
So step one, goals.
Okay, here's the thing. Have you written them down?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have them somewhere that you can see them every day?
In my journal, not working.
No, you put them in your mirror. Put it in your mirror.
Okay.
So you see it every day. Okay?
So I do have a vision board.
Okay, well then put that in on the mirror that you see it every day. Literally, you need to see it every day. Okay? Now, anything that's not that, anything that's not on that board, what are you doing? Stop it. If there's anything that's not on that board and you're wasting your time on it, why? Yeah. But if there's a purpose to that, okay. But if it's not on the board and it's not going to take you there, why are you wasting your time? Did you see? There's a poster that says, it says, I don't even know. Are you happy? And this says the flow chart, happiness flow chart. Have you seen that one?
No, I don't know.
Okay, it says happiness flow chart. Are you happy? And this yes or no. So if you say yes, keep doing what you're doing. And if no, change something. And then it goes right back to the are you happy? No, you're not happy still? Well, change something or keep doing what, that kind of stuff. So it's that simple. You don't like your life? Well, frickin' change it. Yeah. And a lot of us don't allow ourselves to make goals. Because I'm not skinny enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not this. It's like whatever. I didn't think I was smart enough to become a doctor. But then I look at, once I got in, I'm like, I'm the smartest guy in this damn room,
So that's part of successful versus not successful. Is the not so successful people have negative self-talk or don't believe self-talk?
Yes, I think, but to a point, I think everybody has negative self-talk. And there's a difference between the fake, have you all do you all do positive affirmations? You know what a positive affirmation is?
Putting this under number 10.
Okay. Positive affirmation is, I am brilliant, I'm intelligent, I'm, like stuff that you repeat to yourself. Well, you can do that. You can turn that into a mantra, and when you like, I am happy, I am whatever it is, The problem with positive affirmations is a lot of times you don't. I check people for this all the time in my office. It says, I want to be healthy. Like, do you want to be healthy, Chris? Yes, I want to be healthy. Okay, let's check. I want to be healthy. I want to repeat it. And then when they repeat it, they go into fight or flight. So subconsciously, what does that tell me? Subconsciously, you don't really want to be healthy. There's some sort of blockage, conflict, something that you say that you want to be happy, or you say you want to do this, but your body's going, nah, yeah. Whatever it is.
This is delving into something that other speakers will not delve into. So
yes.
You're arguing there's subconscious.
There's all kinds of subconscious stuff. This is where it gets cool. This is where it's like,
It's good for the motivation class.
Yes.
Because we talk about the psychological perspective. And
yes.
Motivation.
So can we go into that now?
Yes. Yeah, and we're in kind of now this mode of like tips for success anyway.
Okay.
So addressing subconscious issues would be one important.
Okay. So who wants to be a millionaire here?
Let's somebody volunteer. For
okay. Yeah. All right. Come on over here. So I got to stay seated.
You don't have to.
Okay. Well, sit here. Okay. Have a. What? I read your mind. I read your mind. All right, Terry. All right. So repeat to yourself. I want to be a millionaire.
I want to be a millionaire.
Okay. So yeah, that's good because he's not in fight or flight. Okay. Now I want you to imagine yourself. You're looking at your bank statement and you have $6 million in the bank.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's this? What is this? Why is your neck tight? Well, okay, that is very telling because you say you want it, but then when you have it, you're in. I don't know what to do with it. So do you think, unless you change, and I'm not, hey, more power to you in whatever your endeavors are, but we should be able to that blockage because now you have $6 million in the bank and you're freaked out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're even breathing hard. A little bit, right? Yeah.
Very particular number.
Yeah.
$6 million.
Well, but it's like 6 million. Yeah. So it's like he's in tension.
You're just saying that just the discomfort of it all or something.
Discomfort. You can't if you're uncomfortable being in that. You'll never get there. You can't be uncomfortable.
You know what the next question is? How do you get comfortable?
Okay, we can clear that. Okay. Now we can do it. We can do it by, and I brought. Well, this is what you guys can do at home. It's and anybody, you meditate, don't you?
I do.
Do you know what central channel breathing is?
What do you mean, like?
Well, you breathe in, and it's you bring the breath in.
The diaphragm?
Yes, but from the ground, you feel like you bring your breath in, up, and then bring it back down, right through through your spine, to your head. So you do that kind of a breathing. Okay, you kind of have to be in a meditative state. But if I were you, I'm going to clear you a different way. What I do at the office, but let's say I would be like, okay, I have $6 million in the bank, and then you start to do that deep breathing from like. And this is a meditation, guys, by the way. So it's
Are you saying like grounding yourself?
Yeah, well, you could be, but you're going to breathe in, and you're going to repeat. So I got $6 million. All of a sudden, I'm going to feel my body. There's going to be spots in my body that are going to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
This is going to be uncomfortable because he's got a big old knot right here. So I'm sure that if I poked around, we're going to find other spots that are uncomfortable. Okay. So the more you breathe, the more noticeable they're going to be. Okay, so now what you need to do is kind of send the breath into those areas. Okay, and till the discomfort eases, and you keep trying to do that, and then we can retest for it, and we'll
Give us the description of it because I'm under like specific tips, and we call this
central channel breathing.
Central channel.
Okay, so this is your central channel, brain, spinal cord. And of course, if you get onto the yogis, they'll be but all the chakras are lined up. Yes. But I don't want to go into chakras because then all of a sudden I'm over there and I want to be here.
If you had to give a 30 seconds, because this is what I do love about you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little psycho-chiropractic. You see what
Always,
it's
always.
not just normal chiropractic. Like
But
the initial chiropractors that I saw years ago, 'cause
Mhm.
I've known you for 20 years now,
Mhm.
they would just have a standard adjustment that they would do. They wouldn't even feel your tightness, your muscles, what you're doing. They wouldn't ask you questions while they were doing it. They just said, get on the table. I'm going to push to there. Your adjustment is done.
yeah,
So there is that.
there is,
chiropractic.
sure, and that's most of them.
There's
Most
that-
of them,
Yes.
yes.
That's what I'm saying. So differentiate yourself. And
Well,
your
I realized
tips
that I
to
was
success are-
that I wasn't fixing everybody. I wasn't. I was. Okay. So. You know, and then so I'm always trying to learn stuff. So I would and always the cool weird crap attracts me. You know, like, oh, that's different and crazy. Let me go over there and learn that. So I was going into like really wild things, and I've seen a lot of weird stuff because I've always been attracted to that stuff. Like I don't even, did you know that I was into Scientology before chiropractic?
No, but listen.
Okay.
This is answering one of our questions about growing, changing, achieving. You're interested in what's different.
Yes.
Which has, remember, if I could just, you guys, this is not within your lifespan, but like chiropractic, it did not exist really.
125 years ago.
Their age,
Yeah.
it really didn't exist.
Yeah.
So it has evolved.
It has evolved. It's
That's
grown.
Very standard, the basis, and maybe you could do that, like a 20-second basis of regular chiropractic
Okay.
is alignment, right?
Yes. Chiropractic is the simplest thing. Yeah. Chiropractic is the simplest thing in the world. The brain controls the body. Yes?
Yeah.
Everybody agrees with that. And then how does the brain talk to the rest of the body?
Through neurons in the spine.
There you go. So the spinal cord is where all, the nerve connection down to the rest of the body. Now, everything in the body is protected. Everything important. That's pretty important. So that's protected. Protected. Okay. The medulla spinal cord has to be protected. So the spine is basically a set of Jenga bones, Well, yeah, because they're all stacked on each other. And then in the middle, there's the spinal canal, and there's the spinal cord. Now, if I shove it, or I'm playing football, and and all of a sudden somebody takes it off place, now you've got interference there. Now it may hurt, may not hurt. Only 10% of your nerves carry pain.
Mm-hmm.
So what do the other 90% carry?
I don't know.
Everything else.
Okay.
Okay, everything else. So your brain controls everything. So 10% is for pain, because you need pain. Pain is a good thing. If you have your hand over a stove, yeah, hey, it protects you. Pain. You got to realize the pain is a good thing. Symptoms. If I poisoned you, and then you start to throw up, are you sick?
No.
No, you're healthy.
Getting out.
Okay, symptoms. That's your body trying to protect itself. Diarrhea, same thing. You ate something bad.
Get it out.
Are you sick, or are you well if you have diarrhea? You're well because you're trying to get that thing. Okay. Did I just do a number on your yeah? Because everybody's like kaopectate and all that stuff. No.
Well, I'm going back to basic
Uh-huh.
chiropractic.
This is basic, yeah.
You align the spine because, and this is part of what's made you, I think, a believer in certain things, and this is what I always say about people's belief systems. You can't question people's belief systems because they see what works. You see what I mean? So if you pray and it works, if you meditate, it works, if you use the board or whatever, and it's working, then you've seen a lot of interesting things.
I have a ton of them. Yeah.
And we were talking like weird symptoms like asthma, and talk about some of the things that like you've aligned people and they're just.
Well, this lady in Honduras, old lady.
She had visual issues that.
Well, she wasn't.
The spine and
they brought her over to me, and they helped her. I'm like, okay. And I was just adjusting everybody that they brought me, and all of a sudden they bring me this lady. They're helping her. Why she can walk. I didn't know anything. I'm like, okay. They're like, she's 91. Just be careful. I'm like, oh, 91-year-old. I want to feel her. At the time, I'd never worked on somebody that old.
Spine,
Yeah. So I adjusted her, and I was okay, and I did my best, and she only spoke Spanish, and I speak Spanish, so we talked, and she's like, I'm like, so how did it go? She's like, puedo ver. Of course you can. Yeah, like she's like, te puedo ver la cara. I'm like, I can see your face. I'm like, of course you can, lady. Yeah, because And she's like, I couldn't do that before. I'm like, what?
Wow.
Wait, what? And I'm like, oh yeah, she can't see. So that was a shock to me and everybody else. But a lot of times you will adjust somebody that they have MS or something like that. MS, they don't give you a good prognosis, by the way. Like, we don't know what to do with it. Take these medications. If it doesn't kill you, we'll see. MS turns out nervous system issue.
I forget the basis of MS. It's like the myelin sheath. It's like a degenerative.
It is, but it's so misdiagnosed. Like fibromyalgia. Everybody has fibromyalgia until you get them in the office. You're like, girl, you don't have fibromyalgia. You've got something else. Yeah.
Okay, so go to the other thing about emotions.
Okay.
Being able to feel.
So for instance, we can, like, sometimes I'll check someone and it's like, okay, wow, I adjusted you, nothing works, and I don't bring out.
Let's do one. We have time.
Okay.
Let's get one more volunteer and see if we could do.
Okay, well, let's clear you though. Let's clear you. Okay. All right. So normally I would have my arthrostim but we don't. So I want you to keep thinking about the $6 million in your bank account. Okay.
Yeah.
Close your eyes and think about that.
If this kid wins the lottery or something, we're all coming back.
Yeah. By the way, I don't think you remember, but one of the first classes, I want you to think about the $6 million. Yeah.
I know you've been.
The kid quit smoking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just from.
That's why I was saying we want to volunteer to do
Yeah.
a real thing.
You feel your breathing changing a little bit, right?
Can you tell us what you're doing?
Well, right now I'm actually just trying to synchronize two points. I call them acupuncture points. They're not really acupuncture points.
So we didn't get to that about basic chiropractic, but it is sort of based in reflexology a little bit too, right? Or connected. Like the idea is that everything is connected. The spinal column is the core, but
Right. Well, the
stomach issues, or if I have
yes.
that alignment, is going to help my.
All right. Deep breath.
Or,
Okay. Think about. See, that's not there anymore. Think about $6 million.
$6 million.
There you go.
You just seem more relaxed.
Yeah. He doesn't go into fight or flight again. All right. Cool.
All right. So this whole thing about blocking, like the smoking kid.
Okay. Here's a cool one. Because we do. I was talking about habits. If you can't break a habit, it takes 21 days. But what if you're emotionally attached to something? There's something, it's filling an emotional need for you. So what we did is, you gotta, if you want to change a habit, you got to figure out what's the driver of it. Mm-hmm. So and there was, this was an older lady. She was in her 60s, I think, and she was just chain smoker. So I asked, is it that you feel, and usually smokers will be like, oh, I had a hard day and all I do, and I feel that tension just release. And I'm like, that's a good one that I'll like, okay, so when you smoke, what do you say?
I hear that more about weed now than regular.
Okay. Well, weed, yeah. Weed is a great.
Somebody in this room is relating to what I just said.
Yes.
I feel it.
It might be me too. Well, and so you tell people, you're like, okay, that's a good one. Oh yeah, when I smoke, I feel so relaxed. And then yes. So, but with this lady, I wasn't getting anything. I'm like, okay, no. How about, does it, nothing. I was like, oh, does it make you feel sexy? Yes. So she felt,
Actually, that was, she was 60 years old.
yeah. So she felt she was sexy.
Were people afraid of that smoke because it might gain weight too?
Yes. But so that was it. So I'm like, okay.
Let's unlearn that driver.
So it's,
Replace it with something else.
well, so I had her be in like, okay, you're sexy, you're sexy, and then of course her, that's because that's the only time she felt sexy. If she repeated it in her mind, she couldn't be that. So then you clear that, and she didn't need the crutch.
Okay, and we'll do a little bit of definition of clearing.
Clearing is when you, through whatever means you have. And by the way, I have something for you guys too. I probably not enough, but you can get a copy of what I'm going to give you guys. If you don't, I printed like 15 copies because.
Okay, I can make
Okay, it's an emotions chart.
Right.
Okay, it's an emotions chart to pinpoint what is blocking you, and how are you going to figure out what it is? You guys know what kinesiology is. Do you know what muscle testing is? Okay, guys, do this. Okay, now try to resist. Don't let that finger poke through like that. Okay, so we're gonna determine that when we get a yes, it pokes through. The circle goes weak, but you got to predetermine. Like I can make it go the other way, but I'm telling you guys, you want this to be the yes. Okay, so we're gonna go hold it, and then let's go yes, no, yes, but actually try. Like, don't be invested in it. Kind of, don't pay attention to what's happening, but go yes, no, yes, no. Are we getting there? Who's got it? Yes, no, yes. Are you getting it? Okay, so you're getting that same. Okay, so when you go to your, excuse me, can you hand me that file folder?
Sorry.
All right. So when you get your emotions chart, so what we're going to do, we're going to go through every box. Is that box for me? No. That one? No. I mean, you see it?
We can share.
Yeah.
Back to back.
Who wants to do one?
I mean, just
All right.
one to each row and they can.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'll copy one.
All right, and I'll keep one so I can.
Actually, I'll push one for you.
And I got a website for you guys to download the thing.
So you guys.
Okay. So we got a volunteer. Who wants to volunteer? You volunteered already. We got you up there. You want to volunteer? Come on.
I like this on your little participation sheet. I volunteer for Dr. Dan.
Yeah. All right, have a seat.